Hi folks, this is Chris Voss from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Coming here with another blog post, all in good fun. I wanted to share with you something. I wanted to speak out about the Mark Zuckerberg thing of Facebook, the CEO of Facebook. And what I really think his errors are and how he could do better and all that good stuff. Now, one of the things about running big companies, about being a person, in essence, Facebook is into itself a nation. It holds more of a populace in Facebook than the United States do. It's closing in on 400 million or over 400 million at this point, and growing at a very fast pace. So they are, in fact, their own country. And Mark Zuckerberg needs to think of, if he doesn't already think of himself in that way, as the president of that country. One of the things that most successful CEOs have to do, and that do out there in the marketplace, is communicate, much like you would to be a president. There's much time that you need to spend building a case for changes that you want to see happen and getting a popular majority of people out there to begin to accept those changes that you want to see happen and be able to turn the tide of popular thought and ideas and what you want to achieve with them. Now, I think Facebook, of course, had their heart in the right place. I don't think anyone was sitting around going, hey, let's make everything public and screw everybody. I really don't think that's what their intent was. I think where Mark Zuckerberg failed is in that he didn't spend a lot of time pre-politicizing these changes that he ended up making that got him so much backlash. He didn't spend a lot of time selling it. And as a CEO, sometimes you got to go out and sell it, especially when you're dealing with something as large as Facebook and sensitive when it comes to putting out people's information. In this new age where people are talking, as CEOs, you've got to go out more and sell stuff and say, okay, hey, here's what we're thinking about doing. Here's what we want to achieve. Here's why this is important to the company. Here's why this is important to you. I've had to do that with employees, where I've had to stand in front of large groups of employees and go, here's the change that we're making, or here's the change that we're thinking about making, and they address these issues. This is why they're important. We're doing these ultimately for you and to make the workplace a better place, et cetera, et cetera. That communication is very important to do. And I think that's where Mark Zucker kind of failed in setting this whole thing up. If he would have spent some time pre-politicizing this and pre-politicking, I guess is probably a better word I should use, where he was out politicking, selling the ideas of, okay, we're going to come up with these changes. It wasn't like Facebook was saying that they were making all of our stuff public and there was this huge privacy issue. Loic from CSMIC said it best, would everyone quit bitching and just get off their ass and go click all the buttons that you got to click? The other part where Facebook made some errors on this issue was they made it a very complex change that you had to do. I mean, there was there was a ton of buttons. I went through all of them, a ton of information to read, et cetera, et cetera. What he got caught up in, or Facebook got caught up in, is giving too complex of a product to a group of people that, number one, don't want that amount of complexity in their lives, and number two, obviously don't want to work that hard, because the privacy controls were there. You just had to go through the work of doing it. So rather than actually doing the work, it's much easier to be lazy and just sit around and bitch, which is pretty much what a lot of people did, because they were confused by all the buttons and everything else. So another lesson here for business. You've got to be careful not to give your clients or your customers too complex of a product that they can't understand and is beyond their level of meeting. The Edsel is probably Ford Edsel is a good example. I mean, it had a lot of things that were before its time, and yet the product failed because it may have been too complex. I don't know. There may have been other product launches that I can't think of at this moment in time that were too complex for consumers. They just didn't get them. Yeah, you can talk yourself out of sales if you give your clients too many choices. That's why you always do an either or an or. So I think Mark is trying to do a great job. I think his ideas and his heart and heart are in the right place, but he caught a shitstorm, and he caught a shitstorm because he didn't educate his base. He didn't communicate with his base. He didn't warm his base up to the idea. He just went, boom, there it is. And I'm sure everybody figured out that we have our hearts in the right place. You've got to go out and politic this stuff and build a consensus behind it before you put things in place. He should have probably come out and said, look, give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. This is what we're trying to do, et cetera, et cetera. I think that would have made the real difference for him. The other thing is Mark's getting a lot of crap for, stuff he did when he was 19, things he said, errors he made. This kid's 26 years old. He's running an incredibly large company for 26. And he has pressures that probably most people that are complaining right now would crumble if they had 100 employees. He's doing probably the best job you can actually respect for someone who's 26. My first company started being successful when I was 21, 22, but it was hard. It was hard work, and it was hard to come up to par with that. And he hasn't had a lot of time to really even grow up in the sense of things on a lot of different levels. Does that make him a bad CEO? No, I don't think so. I think the fact that he's captured the holistic, youthful idea of this new generation, this new information age, actually puts him on a base or level with people of this generation that are the most accepting of these products. Did he maybe say or do stupid stuff when he was 19? And maybe that's going to come out in a movie or something. Has he been banging a bunch of girls in his early 20s? What the hell were you doing when you were 19? When you were 19 to 25? You were probably getting drunk in college, sleeping with everybody, being a complete moron, which most all of us are between probably 19 to 42. No, I'm just kidding. 19 to 25. So let's all cut Mark a bit of a break. Okay? Is he the smartest guy in the room? No, but who is? He's doing an incredibly good job for someone who's 26, and he's got my 2 bits of cred. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with the Facebook privacy thing, other than he gave his consumers too complex a product that they couldn't figure out, or were too lazy to do because it was too complex. And so let's all give Mark Zuckerberg a bit of a break. And he's actually gone back and listened to his constituents and said, okay, well, we'll change it back to a way that you guys like it and however you want it. And obviously it's probably going to be far less controls and less customizable than what he had before. So anyway, that's my take on the whole Mark Zuckerberg CEO of Facebook thing. Like a lot of people right now are laughing about some of his recent stuff and sweating through a deal. Hey, you know what? Let's put you up there and see how you do. Most of you probably in your middle ages aren't smart enough to run the type of company that he's running, and I don't think most of us would perform well under the merits of those demands that he's performing, especially at 26. Think of what a mess you were from 19 to 26. Okay, I wouldn't want to be running a multi-billion-dollar company at 26. I would have liked to have been, but whether I could have, probably not. I probably would have melted down in the brain, and most of us would. So let's be a little bit more honest with ourselves and cut the kid a break. Thank you very much for coming by the Chris Voss Show.com. Bye-bye.